Here we go. Oh, it's lovely to see those numbers jump up so quickly. Let's see if we can see any familiar names and faces. I guess we don't get to see faces today, but we definitely get to see some names. All right. So with respect of time, it is 4 o'clock, and I know that we have fantastic content to cover today. So my name is Taylor Davis. I'm the program manager for the Behavioral Alliance of South Carolina. And on behalf of the Southeastern School Behavioral Health community and BASC, I would like to welcome each and every one of you to this month's national webinar. I would also like to welcome our friends on Facebook Live that are joining us today. And we want to make sure to let everyone know that we are recording this and it will be archived and available on our YouTube. And I will make sure to share again, especially with those on Facebook, what that YouTube link is. However, it is embedded right now within our chat box. So before I turn it over to the incredible Antawn Polite, just a little bit of housekeeping here. So we have time at the end of our presentation for some Q&A, but Antawn has been wonderful and said that he would love to have some dynamic dialogue with all of you. So please feel free to type your questions into the chat box. I will monitor the chat box and then field those questions that Antawn throughout our presentation. For the wonderful humans that are joining us on Facebook Live, you can put your questions in the comment box below and I will get those over to Antawn as well. And for those of you that are joining us in future, please feel free to email us at basc@mailbox.sc.edu with any questions that you may have related to today's presentation. I also want to make sure that I am mindful that we will have a pre-survey and a post-survey. And I know that everyone is not only excited about being here, but loves to get those continuing education hours. So if you would like your continuing ed credits, please do complete the pre-survey and post-survey. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and populate our pre-survey for y'all to go ahead and fill out. And I will turn it over to Antawn to start sharing his slides and introduce himself. I have no doubt that y'all are going to be extremely pleased with incredible human that is presenting some fantastic content for us today. So while we're getting into those slides, I'm going to populate this poll. And while I'm launching the poll, I'm going to say, Antawn, thank you so very much for being here with us today. It is a great honor to have you with us. We know that Charleston County School District must be very, very proud of you, and we are very proud to have you here with us today. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming to attend. My name is Antawn Polite, and yes, I work with the Charleston County School District. I'm what you call a prevention and intervention facilitator. Some of y'all are like, "Whoa, what is that title?" I'm an LPC, first of all, so I'm a licensed professional counselor, as one of your lovely hosts. So my background is varies. I originally wanted to be a special education therapist for Charleston County, but they had plans for me when they looked at my resume. I've been working with Charleston County now for 20 years. I started out as a behavioral service coordinator. And what I typically do, I'm used to working with at-risk students. I don't know why, that's my heart, but I'll share stories with y'all how I end up working with honor roll students as well. But my thing is keeping the kids on a straight track. And I also have some background in the hospital, not some, but a lot. I work MUSC as a PRN clinical counselor. So definitely the information I'm giving to you is going to be from school, hospital, group home, all of those, and personal. I like to get personal. I want you to know what you could apply in your classroom, what you could apply at home, because you know you're gonna have to use a lot of verbal de-escalation tips, no matter where you go, especially with COVID going on. You know, tempers are flaring, to wear a mask, not to wear a mask. How are we gonna handle these things? And I know y'all lovely people out there got questions about that. So we'll definitely be happy to talk about those things. So I know your backgrounds are diverse and your populations are diverse. I know we put it in the chat that you can always email me if you have any future questions. I'll be happy to answer them. So without no further ado, let's get started. I'm gonna ask y'all a lot of questions now.
All right, Antawn, and before you get rocking and rolling, just to give you an idea of who all we've got in the room, it looks like we have about 50% mental health professionals. We got some students, some parents and caregivers, district
Wow.
personnel, some state policymakers, and administrators. So thank you so much. We are very excited. So let's get it rolling.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. So let's look at it. I'm starting with a school point of view now. Okay, so I'm starting from school. I'm a new teacher at your school, and I come to you and I'm like, I need you to remove Carlos from my classroom. I am very frustrated with Carlos. What is Carlos doing? Carlos, he's rude, he's disrespectful, he's no manners, and I just can't teach all day with Carlos in this class. Carlos needs to be removed. What are some kind of things you will have for me? What would you do?
Y'all feel free to populate your answers to Antawn in the chat. So what would you do in that circumstance? What would you do in that situation?
I'm 100% about participation. I just don't want to be talking to you guys, and I don't feel like that I'm
All
helping.
right. We've got some folks jumping in now. Ask
Thank
what
you.
he's doing in particular. Try to talk to Carlos. Let's see here. Oh, now we're all in. Provide you with strategies to not only help Carlos, but all students. Begin with de-escalation strategies. Get Carlos's point of view out of range of the teacher. Very nice. Try to find out what may be going on at home. Validate that it sounds like they need some support. And some folks would like a little bit more specifics. Listen to Carlos.
I like that. So I know I got an advanced group. I like that. Again, so now I'm gonna make it personal, and I'm gonna tie all of this in. What if I call about one of your children? Wow, and you're at your job and you're working, and I call and I say, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, you need to come get your child. Your child is off the chain. They're rude, they're disrespectful. We can't get them to do nothing. You have to come over here and pick them up right now. What would you say? What would you do?
Oh, I'm giggling. We had someone say, not my child. Of course not. But hypothetically, if it was our children.
Yes. And I
we
like
got some with, I'm on the way. Be there after school. Put them on the phone. What's happening in the class? I'm on my way. You've got a lot of parents that are jumping in the car and coming to help figure out what's going on.
And I'm glad. That's why I relate to that. Again, I haven't told you anything that you can address. When you look at somebody when they, as they say, acting out, and what does that mean when they say acting up? I'm not telling you anything. You guys heard that all the time before. Oh, so-and-so acting up. They off the chain. And you're like, okay, you don't have nothing to address. And you people were lovely enough to catch on to that. You need something that you can address. There's two things a way a person might be acting out, as they so-called say, either verbally or physically. Now, see if I told you, oh, Carlos or your child said, bubba, 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 they were gonna beat my you know what. Now you got, okay, that's something I could address. Oh, your child flipped over a table and threw a pencil at me. Now you know that's physical. That's something you can address. So either it's verbal or physical. I always tell the teachers and stuff, especially when you talk to parents, you should know what I tell teachers. I tell it, they need to, and y'all could type in the chat, you need, just like you say, you need to know what you're dealing with and what you have to address. And just like I said, I know some of you parents, I'm glad y'all were diligent, just want to run it at school and everything. But my version of acting out might not be your version of acting out. I have had people come to me and say, the child is acting out in the classroom and the child is sleeping. You know, to me, I'm like, but you know, to them, that's acting out. So that's definitely something you talk to and you want to learn with people. Just to let you know, this is going to be the most wonderful 2.5 hours you guys are going to spend with me today. I hope we didn't lose nobody. I wanted to throw that out.
You got a couple, you got some laugh emojis going on here in the chat. A big LOL.
The reason why I'm glad y'all say that, some of y'all probably would have wanted to just run out this class so fast. Again, the first thing we're going to talk about, if y'all look at this crisis development model I have up, and you can see it, everybody can see it, right? The crisis development model, we talk about integrated experience. And what this model is basically telling you from CPI is every action basically needs a reaction, you know, whether positive or negative. And I'll tell you what I mean by positive or negative. All right. Anxiety. We heard anxiety. Anybody want to share and put in the chat? What do we mean by anxiety?
You've got folks sharing words like nervous, feeling overwhelmed and stressed, disguised as, it can be disguised as anger.
Oh, yes.
Another feeling stressed out.
Oh, wow. And that's why.
Change in behavior. That's another good one.
Oh, yes. A change. I know somebody had CPI. They said that. So a change in behavior. But it's good that you say that anxiety. And that's what I was trying to give you when I told you that 2.5 hours, it really took you aback. That's what's happened with these kids or people in your care, even your children at home. They have anxiety, especially when they start asking questions. Mama, we going to the doctor? I gonna get a shot? What kind of checkout does, you know? They actually, they have anxiety. And, you know, one of those things, even going into the class, you know, as adults, what do we do sometimes? Just go ahead and do it. You know the schoolwork, you got to do it. You got to go to the doctor, just go ahead and do it. What does that do for the anxiety?
They said nothing goes up.
Yes, it does. Your anxiety goes up, and that's when you start seeing your child, whether they're at home or at the school, they start, as you say, they start to get overwhelmed. They cry. They could do a lot of things you're going to see with anxiety. I've seen some kids, you know, they, just like I said, they cry, they suck their thumbs, you know, they start tapping on the desk. Those of you who deal with nonverbals, my favorite part, they start making animal noises. I got baptized with 3 and 5-year-olds. I tell you, it's nothing like getting cursed out by a little kid with a onesie on. And then after they finish cursing you out, they ask you if you could tuck them in the bed, you know? But yeah, so that anxiety is going on. So what do you want? How do you want to be towards them, lovely people? As you can see in staff attitudes and approaches, we want to be supportive. And what do we mean by being supportive?
Let's see, we've got some folks coming with validating of feelings, empathy, being empathic, listening, caring and attentive. Oh, we have lovely humans with us today.
Oh, yes.
Find out how you can help them. So we've got those that want to jump and ask what's going on, get more information. And earlier there was a comment that say, you know, you don't want to be invalidating. So if we shame the anxiety, then it's invalidating to that lived experience. All right.
I like that. You guys are awesome, because the last thing you want to ask somebody is, why are you doing this? Why you act like that? I like how y'all came about with it, saying, oh, how can I help you? You know, is there anything I could do? Oh, you know, a lot of kids, when they make those animal noises, they're not ready to talk to you yet. You're so supportive. Hey, when you're ready, I'm gonna be over here with the other kids. You're welcome to join us. You can stay over here and get yourself together. That's being supportive, because people gonna have anxiety. You guys have anxiety. I have anxiety all the time. You know, I don't know why, but going to Walmart, I don't know why. It's just anxiety going to Walmart. I always see people there, and then I want to know if people really at Walmart shopping or just hanging out, because I can't never just go in and get up. All right. Defensive, my favorite part. Wow. What are we going to see with this defensive?
We've got that if a young person is displaying defensive behaviors, they may be standoffish, rude, not engaged, bristle up. I really like that language. I got a good visual with that notion of like a kid bristling up. Wild eyes. So, maybe you start seeing some physical attributes changing with the child on top of their affective pieces.
Yes. And defensive, man, wow. You see it both in adults and kids with defensive. I love defensive. This is the beginning stage of a loss of rationality. That means the individual's not thinking clearly. I love dealing with defensive, and I'll tell you why. Basically, defensive, again, they're going to tell you what the problem is. And what I mean by that, I had one boy, I know when he was getting defensive, he started talking in third person. His name was Daryl. But then all of a sudden he would be like, low D, don't play that. Low D from so-and-so road, don't play that. And I was like, well, you're talking just, you're talking in third person. And this is the time parents in particular and teachers, you might get happy because those kids bring you back to reality. They'll probably tell you, be quiet. You're not my mama. You're not my daddy. And you're right. You have to say, oof, thank you. Because, I thought you would, because you were my child. No, you can't do that. That's what I'm saying. So they're starting to get defensive with you. All right. We're going to be what you call directive. What do we mean by that? Educators, even parents, you're educators. All of y'all on this call are educators because you educate kids. How do you be directive? How do you educate?
Let them know your expectation and what behaviors you want to see, explaining what is going to happen next clearly, boundaries and expectations, model coping skills, give them a replacement behavior or action, teach them. Oh, I love that language. Teach them life skills, teach them coping skills, tell them exactly what you want them to do.
You guys are so awesome. Yes, directive. Basically, you're setting limits. A lot of people have problems with setting with directive, and I have to work with a lot of young teachers with this setting because they're like, I have a hard time being directive. Basically, you're setting limits, and you start with the positive first. Hey, Antawn, if you sit down, we can act like this incident hadn't even occurred. But Antawn, if you continue running around this classroom, throwing things at your peers and swearing loud, we're going to have to ask you to leave. You're always welcoming to somebody, but you always got to let them know that, look, these are the consequences. It's no different, lovely people. What if you come home and your child find a new friend in the neighborhood and they got their foot up on your new coffee table and they drinking from your gallon of milk that costs like $10 now since it went up so high in certain places? What would you do? What would you say? Because the kid to tell you, hey, we do this at my house.
You are welcome to stay here, but use a glass and put your feet down, please. Very practical. I like that.
There you go.
I don't know that I would have the same response. I think I would have to be mindful of my reactions and my personal behaviors as well.
And I like your truthfulness. That's why I tell some people sometimes you have to take it back and you work as a team. That's good. I like the honesty. Risk behavior. Basically, risk behavior, these are the behaviors you see that the kids are either doing harm to themselves or to others. And the reason why I'm talking about these, we're talking more about verbal, so we're not going to get into physical. So the risk behaviors is more like harm to themselves or others. And that's when you learn you take the full CPI class and you learn how to do physical interventions to keep yourself safe. I always tell people it's not a punitive thing. I just had to use it this past weekend at the hospital. And afterwards, the young lady came to me and she shook my hand and said, thank you, I'm sorry for what I did. Because the whole time that I held her, I communicate with her. And this is important going down to the last piece, tension reduction. What goes up must come down. So tension reduction, man, I done scream, holler, yell, and everything. And I'm coming down. All right, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna do? No questions. I'm in tension reduction, and you checking with me to see if I'm okay.
We said, let them know that they're still safe. Talk calmly and encouragingly. Focus on the positives and help the student move forward. Discuss what we learned, what we can change moving forward. Ask what happened and what we can do better the next time. I love the forward thought and opportunity.
Yes, and I love the conversation with y'all. You guys are hitting it on the head. That's how you get the therapeutic rapport. I call it, you don't want to do the definition of sanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You getting that therapeutic rapport. I had a situation, lovely people, where I had a girl, she was nonverbal, and she got up and she just threw a chair at the wall. Wow. Okay, she's angry. We get that, she's angry, but we didn't know what she was angry about. Well, come to find out, ladies and gentlemen, she was upset. She wanted a cookie. Well, she wasn't verbal, but she just got up, threw the chair at the wall. We know she's upset, but it wasn't until talking to her and everything and trying to go through those picture charts, she wanted a cookie. So what I told her, I said, hey, if you want a cookie, all you have to do is point to what you want, or even draw a little picture, draw the circle and put the little dots in it, because she liked chocolate chip cookies. And she was like, ooh. You got to remember now, fun fact, I know I got some fellas on here, but we probably got more females. So ladies, you got to go easy on us. I always do this fun fact. When does the average female brain mature? Around what age?
Said 2.
2? No.
I'm gonna, we said we've got 21 question mark, 21 question mark.
Yes, they're very close, 25 plus or minus, 25 for the females. Now, ladies, go easy on us men, okay? Go easy on us men, all right? Males, excuse me. When does the average male brain mature?
I'm calculating 62, 35, 26, and never.
I know never. I was waiting for never, and somebody else say that. So that's why I laughed. 42, ladies and gentlemen, 42. Again, when we little, we throw tantrums, but when we become adults, we throw mantrums. And y'all know you see some mantrums. I just saw a mantrum the other day at the gas station. 2 guys were fussing over a pump. And if you could see the surveillance video, I'm walking behind these guys looking at this pump because I'm thinking this is a special pump. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, there's several other empty pumps. But I was here first. This is my pump, and I was like, wow, it's almost like the playground kind of stuff. And those are the things you're dealing with, the maturity. And that's why I always tell you, again, when you argue with someone who's not mature, it's not going to be pretty. And that's why I say, again, that's when you go back to directive. You tell them what the limits are and you move on. And a lot of kids always say that. They call me Mr. Happy, and they were like, I really can't believe your last name is Polite. And I say, yes, I try to live up to that. I try to be very polite. All right. I want to get y'all through this next slide because I have a wonderful video I want to show you. Well, notice we talked about that defensive earlier. Lovely people, that defensive where they're starting to lose rationality. You had anxiety and then you were supportive. Now they went to defensive. All right. This is the part when, they start out, they could be questioning. And they're going to ask 2 types of questions. One might be information seeking. The other one could be challenging. What do we mean by information seeking question? And a lot of teachers I know get frustrated with this because kids are going to do it. This generation, they like to ask why, and more why, even your kids at home. And y'all know when y'all were growing up, what those grandparents and your parents said, because I said so. That's why you do it. You do it because I said so. And that's what we did all this time. So again, so kids ask why, but why are they asking why? That's some anxiety. Hey, why? I have some kids, you going to school? Yeah. Well, aren't you going to take your book bag? Oh yeah, I need that. The maturity and stuff, you just think about it. It's so funny. Kids tell me all the time sometimes, I come to school and do no work. I say, well, That's what you do here. And, kids will tell you the number one reason why they like to go to school, they like to socialize. I used to think the elementary schools, y'all were so mean. I didn't understand why the kids had to have 15 minutes of silent lunch. I was like, they need to be socializing and everything. Well, I realized that, working in the school system, you let those little ones talk, man, they're going to talk so much, they're not going to eat their food. So it's a lot of things you do is reason why you did it. I always think about my kindergarten teacher, I'll never forget. And I just thought it was the best thing. We would just be chatty and talking up, and she just get up and she'd be like, okay, it's time for peanut butter balls. She would give us those wrapping wax paper, and she would just have a little ice cream scoop and take a little tiny scoop of peanut butter. She had a big tub of peanut butter, and she would put it all on our little wax paper. And we like, yay. And man, she could even put like powdered sugar on it and everything. And we just like, yay, man. And we eating that peanut butter ball. And next thing you know, we stopped talking. And we're like, wow, now that I'm older, I'm like, this was very crafty. This was an easy way to get us to start chatting like that. So now I know a lot of parents, y'all gonna, after this, y'all gonna be running out getting a big tub of peanut butter and some powdered sugar. So information seeking, they asking why. They're asking a rational question, seeking a rational response. Challenging. Oh, you gotta like the challenging question. And challenging questions is for a reason. I love a challenging question. Again, what is a challenging question? Are you certified to be in this class? Do you know what you're doing? Do you even know what you're teaching? Are you sure? Basically, a challenging question has nothing to do with what you told that individual to do. I call it smoke screens. It's trying to take you off topic. You got to stick to the topic of what you want somebody to do. Because, sometimes you could ask me, hey, Mr. Polite, I need you to go to class. You make me sick. You're the only parent that come around here and tell us to do this. You're the only teacher or administrator that said, them other people don't say nothing. And that's what I smile. And I say, well, I telling you because I care. And that's why I always get with the kids. So yeah, those are two types of questioning. And please, if you got anything to put in the chat, please do so, lovely people. All right, the second part. Refusal. Wow, they flat out telling you, I'm not doing it. Non-compliance, slight loss of rationality. I'm not doing that. You can't make me do it. Okay, what do? We talked about it earlier, lovely people. You become directive, you educate them, you let them know what's going to happen. I really want you to do the work in this class so you could pass, but if you don't do the work, you'll be unable to pass this class. So is there anything I could do to help you? The same thing at your kids. Your kid, mama, daddy, I'm gonna stay home. I ain't going to school. You just go take care of me for the rest of your life. Now I got those parents going like this because now you realize how you educated and you tell them and you're proactive. I always talk to kids before things happen and say, do you have any questions? Is everything okay? And they feel more relaxed, especially when you're dealing with your special need kids. They love routine. Y'all know that. They love a routine. If that routine is going to change, lovely people, you got to kind of acclimate them to that. You got to kind of prepare them. Even though when it happens, they might still have a little hiccup. It wouldn't be as bad as you just really cold turkey do something on it. All right. So you set your limits with the refusal. Release. Wow. I like this part. I have a video I'm going to show y'all after this, but you're going to see why I tell you I like release. Release is when somebody's really telling you what the problem is. They're really telling you what's going on. A lot of people get scared, but even with parents, they're like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the school calling me. And I'm like, yes, okay, I get it. Frustration, they tell, they tell them. So, I appreciate it. I appreciate the open honesty. All right. Intimidation. Oh, wow. This day and age, we have to take that seriously. And that's why I tell kids. And I have parents that say, well, I had a boy from Horry County told me one time at the group home, he came to a group home in Charleston. He told me he was going to cut my head off and make some soup. 8 years old. I was like, wow. So I shared that with his parents, and his parents were like, we tell him about saying that, You know, that's what got him in trouble in Horry County. You know, and my thing is, they're like, well, you know his diagnosis. And what I was telling him, I said, yes, as a licensed counselor, you know, I get it. And I know where that kid's coming from. But the scary thing is, in schools, you're going to have to talk to these kids, because if that child makes that comment, other kids are going to hear him. It's not so much the adults. And then that's when you got the anxiety, lovely people, of the other kids going home and telling their parents, man, I don't want to go to school. So they cut my head off and make soup. You know, and that's what I'm saying. So it's things like that. And I'm like, okay, you might we could let this one go, but he's going to have to write an apology letter to the kids in the classroom, to the teacher and everything. And this can't, but if it happens again, we are going to go through this process, you know, and that's why I try to tell people. So depends on the individual and how you deal with things, what level that student is at, or, you know, your child. It's like how you come across them with intimidation. But yeah, you got to take it seriously. And a lot of kids, they could come back and say, oh, I was just playing. But yes, that anxiety for the other kids are real. All right. Last but not least, lovely people, tension reduction, a drop in energy. And we talked about that. When they drop in energy, they're coming down. You know, you're like, Antoine, you ready to talk? And I'm like, no, screw you. So, you know, I'm not calm. But, you know, you're like, Antoine, I'm ready. Are you ready to talk? And I'm like, yes. And I don't want to look at you because I'm feeling some remorse. I don't want to make that eye contact with you. I'm feeling some type of way. So, you know, some people, when the tension reduction happened, I have seen some people, they respond negatively. They're like, you know what? You should feel bad about yourself. You know, I'm going to tell your mama how you've been acting here today. You know, now's not the time for that. You get that therapeutic rapport, and you're going to see this. The reason why I wanted to show y'all this slide, you're going to see this in this video I'm about to show you. But I did see some chats pop up, and anything that I need to know of before we go to this video?
Other than the fact that this is fantastic information, you are golden.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right. So, wow, let's look at this. Boston 24/7 is about an administrator, and he was like known for, Principal McAfee was known for like changing schools around. And he had this one particular school in Boston, and they actually, ABC did a little walkthrough with him this day, and man, it popped off, and y'all gonna see what happened.
I'm not going to change the world, but I hope I'm making a difference.
Here's all my early dismissal students across the street.
With summer coming, Madison Park's principal, Chuck McAfee, knows that some students find warm weather especially distracting.
Sir, what are you doing? It seemed like a good idea, but where do you really belong? All right, let's get there.
Being the principal means being consistent, being fair, and about communication.
Not a bad idea, though.
You have to have a really good sense of humor to be successful with this.
Show you. Watch right there.
Okay, he's looking around, walks right up. Look at this. What? He puts the gum right directly on the camera. Thinks that nobody's gonna see him.
That's unbelievable. Sometimes it's not always fun. These are young people, and so we do have rules.
Let's go. No hats. Basic rule. We like to think that you're in school to learn. That's just one of the rules that we're trying to work with.
He took my hat. My hat was on the table. It was now on my head. Why would I walk around and put a hat on my head?
Let me go up and see him. You wait here.
This student is angry that his hat was confiscated by one of his teachers. A minor incident at some schools.
How we doing?
But at Madison Park, Chuck McAfee knows things can quickly spin out of control.
I put my hat on the table. Other teachers didn't have a problem with that. Why did he have a problem with it?
Little issues that's going on here that I'm not getting.
It reflected me.
See, I mean, I'm trying to figure this out. There's always two sides of the stories. I mean, I cannot imagine why someone come down to my office about just his hat. If he wasn't wearing his hat, why would the teacher take my hat?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He had his hat. He left his hat in a place it wasn't supposed to be. I took his hat.
What's the point?
He doesn't really perform at any kind of acceptable level.
Yeah.
He caught a real nasty attitude about it.
Why do you want to leave school?
Yeah, I know. He can be laxing about his hat and get his hat at the end of the school day.
Or you said at lunchtime?
Well, see, I'm at lunchtime if I'm a nice guy and you don't treat me bad. When you leave here...
Say anything?
Yeah, he called me all kinds of names. He was swearing at me and everything before he was leaving. He called, no, you know me, but before he left here, I was all kinds of, MF, AS type
Oh, I
stuff.
see, all right. How we doing? Come on. Please. How we doing?
The longer you do this, you get a sixth sense. If I get it right, I'm going to find out the root of the problem.
I
Now,
almost my hat back.
all right, here's what I want to tell you. Now, how old are you?
I'm 18.
And see, that's the tough part. And when you get 18, you're like grown, and it's hard to deal with you because you're a young adult.
I mean, if my hat was small enough to fit in my pocket, I would put it in my pocket. Now, he's just trying to do this to show me that he got power over me, this and
That's
that.
what I thought it was. Obviously, you got upset. That's what I thought. That's what I got. All right. I was trying to figure out what was this about. It's not about the hat. You feel like you didn't get that much respect. All right, come on. I want to try to keep you in school, so I got the point, the teacher got the point, you got the point. We have to straighten this out with your teacher.
Put my hat.
Hold on, we're not finished. Don't walk away.
Come on home, yo. Come on, man.
Don't go home over your hat. Hold on. I just know from experience, sometimes these little things can turn into bigger things if you don't do the right thing. This is your third high school. I'm trying to make sure that this year is somehow successful. Because you're going to get an education. All right, let me bring you over here. Let me go get your hat.
Principal McAfee convinces this angry student to sit down with the teacher who took away his hat and try to work it out.
Hi, this is Mr. Wilkins.
I want these two people to communicate and solve their problem.
Anything to say?
Yeah. How come you only decide to take my hat, comment her hat on the table, and then rather than that, you could just be like, yo, Will, put the hat in the locker.
I don't like that tone. I don't like that tone.
That's
I'm not
the tone you're gonna get if you're gonna do
No,
something
no,
like
that's
that.
not the tone I'm gonna get because you're not following the rules. If the hat is sitting over, I'm gonna say.
Where I come from, yo, adult, no adult, yo, if you're gonna treat somebody like that, how you expect me to talk to you?
Okay, Wilkins, here's the deal. Here's the deal. The rule is no hats. If I find out, the rule is no hats.
Hey, yo, man, what the man? You really begin to piss me off, dog. You over here running your mouth, doing this thing, thinking that's your rules, this and that. Listen to me closely, alright? I don't care about you. I don't give two about you. All I wanted was my damn hat. You had no right to take my hat off no table. If I put my hat on the table, you have the right to be like, well, I don't want that hat there. Put it in the locker. I don't put it in the damn locker. I'm like, ask somebody so I can put it in the locker. You don't come up to my face. Now let go of me. Yo, don't put your hands on me. William, come on. Yo. What the hell, man? What the hell, man?
It's a tough world out there for young people. They feel very vulnerable. When they feel disrespected, we're in a lot of trouble. They do things sometimes that don't make any sense.
Sometimes it's so easy.
You know, and you're dealing with young people.
Didn't have to explode.
What window was that?
After his attempt to make peace between teacher and student backfires, Chuck McAfee has to clean up the mess.
You got to see his hand. He needs a nurse. See his hand. He's going to have to end up having to pay for this. This way.
When things really mess up, it's my fault.
Hold your hand up.
The buck stops here.
Okay. What happened?
I'm trying to talk to him, but he refused to let me talk, and then he get me aggravated because he's talking to me like I'm a first grader.
All right, so now you're aggravated. So then you turn around, get mad, and punch the window?
Yeah. He making it seem like I'm stupid.
Okay.
You need a stitch in it.
I don't want to pay for the window. Listen, my mom can't pay for that window. I got 5 little brothers, and my mom work at 2 jobs, and she can't hardly pay the rent.
Then wait a minute. then we'll probably talk about some kind of restitution. We'll find a way. All right?
Thank you.
Okay.
It's very hard to be a teacher because they deal with everything, but they got the heart to do this.
I thought this one was going to be an easy one. What happened?
He had a tone that I didn't like, and I mentioned it. And he went left, and he went bad. And I feel real bad now. I mean, I'm like...
I know. Let me have this. I thought this one would have been an easy one. I don't know what the conversation was, but I know that nobody likes to feel good when kids get angry and put their hands through windows.
Yes, sir.
All right, so, I don't know. It's about communication. Sometimes we hit it, sometimes we don't. But if they end up doing this, then we lose.
Yeah.
That's all. Well, no, my mistake. I thought we could work this out. Sometimes it doesn't work. Damn.
All right, lovely people. Watching that video, y'all saw what my buildup was. That's why I was at this slide. And this is where I'm gonna ask you questions. What was the questioning that Will had? What was it about?
We've got a couple of responses here, and I agree too. That made me tear up. That made me so sad to watch unfold, breaking my heart too. Why the unfair application of the rule? Why did the female not get in trouble with her hat, blatantly taking his hat? Why did you take my hat? Why take it and not ask me to put it in the locker?
Yes, and I promise you, lovely people, I do have a feel-good video after that, if that's what got y'all. But this is just for learning purposes. Yeah, we'll ask some good questions, and you really got to give it off to the kid. The refusal was, remember, Will wanted to go, he wanted to go home, and the principal had that rapport with him and told him to stay in the office. That was the first rapport he got with him of that day. He got Will to stay. The release, remember what Will say, listen to me and listen to me good. I don't care about you. I don't give two about you. All I wanted was my, you know what, hat. That's why I tell you about release. It might freak people out, but even in the hospital, you're going to be some, when they to that point, and they're telling you what the problem is. And some people are like, I still don't know what's going on. I was like, really, you're not listening to them? So intimidation will punch that window, because he was telling that teacher that could have been your face. And the tension reduction, well, I'm glad Will was able to get to that tension reduction when he got to the nurse. But you see how tension reduction Will was calming down? What was the police officer asking? Hey man, how you gonna pay for that window? You know, you're gonna use PayPal, you know, we do Cash App, you know, you're gonna use a credit card, you know, you're like, what? I know that's on your mind, but that's not, you know, what we're gonna talk about now. But Principal McAfee was good again. He came in and said, hey, we will work something out. You become an ally with the individual. Hey, we're gonna get through this. We will work this out. And that's when Will opened up and he told you all about his family thing. And I know it is a tearjerker for you guys, because think about it. The way Will act towards that hat, it had to have some kind of sentimental value. It could have been his dead father, you know, hat, or somebody hat. So it was special to him. I'm sorry, you got something you got to say?
I think it was speaking to exactly where you were going with that. We had one of our lovely humans comment, large family, barely enough money to pay rent. That hat was a possession. It was important, and likely because they had so very little.
So you guys are wonderful. I'm gonna show y'all this video right here. It's going to start off rough, but it's going to get good in the end. It's not that bad. It's not much of a tearjerker, but it's one, you know, to make you feel good. That's why I always got to have this one for you lovely people. Oh, that's not it.
My job is to make college easier because students have a lot on their mind.
Oh, sorry, Coach.
Hey, Mr. Q! Did you see that? Why would somebody do that?
Please go into the classroom, no talking, quietly.
Hey, Miss Meredith, how you doing?
We need you inside.
How do you think that makes us feel? I forgot my number.
What's your name?
Jordan.
What's your last name?
Carter.
All right. Go ahead.
School is hard enough.
Come on in, sit down quietly at your desks, and begin writing.
This kind of stuff just makes it harder.
I said quietly, please. Who's talking? Is it you, Sophie?
Don't believe me?
Sophie.
Please just watch.
I'm not up here for me, I'm up here for you. Pay attention, okay? Now somebody answer me. Somebody needs to answer me really fast.
Every time we're ignored or yelled at or silenced, the teacher takes away what's possible.
No horseplay, no running, and especially no talking.
Moment by moment.
Miss McGarity, your student's behavior yesterday in the lunchroom, it was terrible. Next time, silent lunch.
Did you hear that? Stay in line and catch a bubble. I'm not playing.
If this is education, we're in trouble. Bye, Miss McGarity. Frederick Douglass said, once you learn to read, you'll be forever free. The way it is now, 2 of the 3 of us will never be able to really read. It doesn't have to be this way.
Hey, Jordan. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
Everyone we meet throughout our day can make a difference.
I've been waiting for you to arrive.
All the difference.
Good, how are you? Great. Hi, Jordan. Bye, Jason.
Good morning, Jordan.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Good.
Go ahead and put your number in.
Talk with us, not at us.
That's okay. I'll look it up for you. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Okay.
All right. Have a
Teach us what we need to know. That's how we get smarter.
Well, good morning, Sophie, Janicia, and Jordan.
And when you talk with us and teach us, give us bigger and bigger words.
Now what I'd like you to do, children, is turn around and converse with your neighbor and discuss where the mother might have gone.
Words that we can use to read and understand.
She is prey for eagles, so she hunts at night.
And that will take us places we can never reach without you.
Remember, we're entering the learning zone. Now, how can we show our respect to the children and teachers who are working?
We can walk quietly.
Yes. Okay, kids, so what I'd like you to do is continue writing your narrative, documenting your emotions if you were the baby owl and your mother abandoned you in the nest.
What can you do? Learn all that you can so that you can challenge us to be our best.
You would have stayed and assisted them in whatever they needed.
Share yourself with us and show us how to share ourselves with others. Give us courage. Give us compassion. Help us find our own voices so we can become who we are meant to be. Why would you want to?
All right, lovely people. You see, I have to give you something nice to end it on. This is why we do what we do. And I always tell the kids, I say, I'm helping you today. It's no telling you will probably have to help me tomorrow because Mr. Antoine is getting old, and they laugh about it. And it's just one of those wraparound what we bring in today. What I shared with you, just like I said, I hope it was helpful for you with those little tips and techniques. Please, again, you have my email address. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to email me. And thank you and have a good day.
Before y'all run off too quickly, one, I just wanted to say that you got some fantastic comments here. Very helpful. Thank you, Antoine. Thank you so much. And a big thank you from us here at the Behavioral Alliance of South Carolina and the Southeastern School Behavioral Health community. This was so very engaging, incredibly meaningful presentation. My hope is that y'all will stick around for just a few moments so that we can finish that post survey. And maybe Antoine, you could respond while they're doing a post survey to one of the curiosities that was put here in the chat, which was they love to see the hugs in the video, and that now that's a little bit more difficult during COVID. So are there any strategies for de-escalation where we would use intentional touch and be able to bring that child in close that maybe we could adjust now for COVID or for our virtual setting?
Well, a lot of times people might use gloves or they'll have that protective apron, but you know, people, we do the elbows. I still do the elbows and the fist pump, with the kids. And you could always do the air high five and everything. And we do air hugs. I do that in the hospital all the time. And the kids love it. And, we just do it like this, so yeah, you could be very creative with it and make it fun.
Another good one that I've seen, and this is actually something that I did with one of my best friends forever ago, is just kind of like, how you have your own unique handshake.
Yes.
We would do like a shoe tap, and his nickname, he's got a nickname that goes along with it. And so we would tap shoes. And so that's something else that I think that you could do is, you're still getting that physical connection, but you're keeping your distance and keeping everybody safe. It's another great technique. So y'all, if you love this content, you want to share this resource, please check us out on our YouTube channel. We are 3B. You can find that information in the chat, and we'll make sure to send that out to y'all as well. The YouTube channel is 3B. You could always connect with us on our social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at BASC. You can find us on our website at www.schoolbehavioralhealth.org. That's our Southeastern School Behavioral Health website. And if you put a /BASC in there, it's going to bring you to all of our great BASC content that will include a recording of Antoine's fantastic presentation from today, as well as an incredible repository of resources, videos, and something that we love to share, Basking in the Spotlight. You can nominate teachers, educators, and young people in your schools or community to bask in the spotlight and just really uplift that voice of hope. So with that being said, looks like we've got most everybody completed our post survey. We want to say another huge thank you to Antawn Polite for being with us today. Thank you to everyone on Facebook. You did have a lot of live streamers on Facebook today. And thank you for all of y'all for giving us your time and your energy this afternoon. We look forward to seeing y'all next month. And if you have any questions or curiosities, Antoine's email is in our chat box, or you are more than welcome to email bask@mailbox.sc.edu. Thank you all so very much. I hope you have a wonderful and restful weekend. Antoine, until we get to see you again. All right. Bye now. Y'all have a great one.